What's up, world? It's your boy Dez. I'm here by myself tonight. Got a still covering the relationship series. Got a topic for you today. Going to be talking about, the relationship with yourself. That's a very important one. We got to talking in the group chat the other night, and that was one of the subjects that came up. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good one. And I thought it'd be fitting for me to go ahead and take care of that one by myself, considering we are talking about the relationship with yourself. So as usual, I'm gonna go ahead and drop my tags. You can find me at your boy Dez on YouTube. Got some content there. Got the Lawn Warrior on Facebook. Also have Karmic Dez on Instagram. I believe that's everything. I am on SoundCloud like Incredible. It's just been a while since I've been on there. There's a lot of my older beats are on there. So we do have content. I have content. It's out there. You can get in contact with us and whatnot. So we're going to jump into current events here. There are a couple things that caught me lately. One thing, the whole Jada Pinkett Smith thing. I said at the beginning when when she came out with the whole entanglement thing. I was just saying that she's, in my mind, is looking for attention. Um, Overall, yeah, it's for Will, it's rough. When it first came out, I said Will's a stronger man than I am. To be in that situation, some would say that he's a more simp man than normal to still be in that situation. I mean, I don't know the dialogue, the in between those two. We only know what really Jada has said. So yeah, there's that. I've just I had a lot more respect for Jada before these comments. I just can't see why. Like to what end? It only makes them both look bad. If anybody out there feels me. So yeah, that. But the bigger current event news is what's going on in Israel between them and Hamas and Palestine. I've looked at a few articles very briefly, listened to a few people talk about it. So I haven't looked into all the details of it, but I'm basing my initial reaction off of what I know from Scripture. And those who follow Scripture, this seems very spoken about already, prophetic even. So it's a very interesting time. It's a very interesting situation, and it's very reminiscent of 9/11. I can't say that we should help, then again, I can't say we shouldn't help. All I can say is that I am weary that the countries involved would become involved rather quickly if things are escalating. We're not going to say if they're escalating. Things are escalating. We are looking at a World War III, folks. Me and Mike talked about this probably on, I don't know, America or Aliens 1 or 2. So we and I know for a fact, I said months ago, the game is in play. The pieces are moving. That's what's going on. The game is in play. The game's still being played, and pieces were in position. And anybody who plays chess, once your piece is in position, and there's no more positions to take, you have to start taking positions. So that's where I believe we're at from what I'm seeing and hearing going on in Israel. I know I looked day one when it happened. It was in the middle of the night for us here. Within like an hour, they confirmed 1,000 dead on the ground. I was like, God, 1,000 dead confirmed on ground in an hour. That's a strike squad. And the same questions come about. How was this not picked up on any radio or any intel? Nothing. Just randomly out the blue. And also from them hearing, Israel's had a chance to back off and know they're wanting full out war, which I understand. You were attacked. You come to my home and you attack my people, I'm probably going to come for you too. So it's a volatile situation. Very volatile. Um, I know there are a lot of treaties in the area. Iran and I believe Russia, Israel with us. And then, of course, Russia's got treaties with China. So, again, things can escalate very, very quickly. And the only knowledge I have of what may happen, and for, those who believe every word of the Bible, what will happen, or every word of Scripture, whatever you want to call it, whatever it is, it's unfolding before our very eyes. That is a comment going through Facebook right now, actually. I actually shared it myself. I've been kind of watching things the past few years kind of look familiar. Let's see if there's any. I mean, I don't think there's really any other current events that are really bigger than that. They tried to get this with the aliens. I think we already knew about the aliens. We need more in-depth detail if they're wanting to grab our attention with alien talk. Yeah, I don't think there's really a lot of current of anything bigger than that. I do plan on getting the crew together, and we plan on discussing that situation in Israel. I just want to see where everybody else is at. And get you guys more of a rounded talk about it. So we'll get somebody talking about it, except for just the one side. We have one side of our media talking about one side of the arguments. I don't want to say that there's necessarily two sides of the argument, because again, if somebody comes to my house, there's really no argument from the other side. But we really don't know 100% what's going on. So that, just want to see what other brains have on the matter. But getting into the topic tonight, it's again, we're going to be, it's relationship month for the month of Libra. Astrologically, Libra is the sign of scales. You're relating things, you're balancing things, you're putting things up against each other to see which is better, which is more, which is which, right? Reality versus non-reality, right? We're testing all those things. We're putting all those things to the balance. So with that being said, you also got to check in on yourself. You got to make sure that yourself is balanced. I believe I said on the last episode that I did by myself was the body episode, in which I said sometimes you gotta ask your body questions. Ask your feet, how you feeling? Is your back up for this challenge? Before you pick up a box, sometimes you might not realize you do it, but you probably do it. Do I feel, is my body ready for this? Legs, you ready for this? Your body will answer. That also goes for your mental health. Sometimes you just gotta, well, let me ask, do you, at the end of your day, reflect on the things that you've done and how you may have affected people, or how people may have affected you? The things that you've picked up, the things that you've given off, just the energies and the vibes. Do you reflect on those things? I know personally I do, and I would say it keeps me able to function in everyday society. Not gonna lie, I do feel, I'm not a big emoter, but I have feelings. So I do feel like anger primarily. uh, but for the most part, I'm rather balanced. I do feel compassion, and empathy, excitement, surprise. I do feel those things. It's just not, they're just through a different lens and filter than, let's say, a more extroverted or more emotionally showy type, right? So I often have to check in with myself to, see where I'm at. Am I balanced? Am I good? Do I got to get this excess energy off me? Like, things of that nature. Are you on your life path? Do you feel you're where you're supposed to be in life? Do you feel you're on track to what you're trying to accomplish in life? That's a big part of it too. I know. I think Hook talked on it last time. That's one of the things that kind of angers him when he wakes up. These things aren't what he expected them to be at this point in his life. And I have heard that argument before. That's actually a big argument with a big let's say argument, a big concern for guys as we get older. That's a lot of times we sacrifice, we put off things, and then at the end we're just we could have done this or we could have did that. So it gets hard to live without that. To live to deny that I should have or I could have done this or that. Now, to that effect, though, that's why essentially, if I have a thought or an idea or something to do, I try to go out there and do it. Or I try to get it done. Or I look up information how to do it. Like, for instance, last year, I want to say, yeah, about last year, I had an idea. I said, I'm going to Japan. Right? Looked at the ticket pricing, looked at hotels, checked out the area and everything, looked at all that information online, kind of like manifesting, right? Downloaded Duolingo, started learning Japanese. Now, granted, Japanese is a lot more intricate and tedious than I thought it would be. I took Spanish for about 4 or 5 years through high school and college, so I thought it would be a breeze to pick up Japanese and and correlate it, but no. So that would be a whole nother topic, but real short like. So the English language and languages that are birthed from that root, that American English is birthed from, are sound based. So A is B is B. That idea. Not so much in Japanese. Japanese is image based. So you see an image and you depict the sound. Sounds weird, I know. I would say some of the words or some of the sounds, but a lot of folks wouldn't know the words. But I don't know. This is a podcast, so we are going to be going worldwide here. So there's stuff like moo and she and chi. Those things like they're pictures as opposed to letters. Well, even though they're letters, but you there's a difference. So, but again, I digress. That was my goal to get to Japan. Here we are a year later. I haven't gotten to Japan, but in the process, I have picked up a good amount of Japanese. Um, so I am aware that if I hadn't set all those goals, I probably wouldn't have got as far as I did in learning Japanese, or as far as I am learning Japanese. So I actually have a goal to push me that forward. And that's another thing with the whole with having a good relationship with yourself. Sometimes you have to motivate yourself. You have to find the motivation in yourself to do things and get things done. Because sometimes you have sometimes you don't have motivators around you. Or sometimes you just have poor motivators around you. In those cases, you have to have that extra fortification to motivate yourself to get to where you need to go or want to go. Again, that that comes from the self reflection. So you gotta stop. And you gotta take time to just fill yourself out. Where you at, where you're going, just essentially how you're feeling. Now, granted, sometimes feeling is not always gonna be what you want. You want how can I say it? You want logic to help you as you make these decisions, so that way you can achieve the things that you feel in a way that aligns with the rules of the game or the rules of the world at this point. I won't necessarily say the status quo of the world because that's a little trickier. But the rules of the world, they essentially stay the same. For instance, I would reckon it's very hard for the world to be taken over by, let's say, one entity or one nation. For example, World War II. Hitler got very, very close. There were things that happened, small things and big things, that led to the downfall of that whole situation. Um, World War One was similar, so it's I don't think that it would happen. I could be wrong. Um, you got Roman empires, Ottoman empires, where they ruled all of known civilization. That is true. As far as the planet goes, that's a bigger animal. Uh, ego. Ego is also, it's something that can help motivate you, but could also be your biggest setback, right? So ego and humility. Let's say that. So when you're confident in yourself, you build your ego up. Say if you're a basketball player, football player, you make 75% of your shots, no matter where you are, or you're a big shot running back. You're averaging 4, 5, 6 yards of carry, right? That's going to build up your ego. Now, in order to remain balanced, you're going to have humility. And it's like I tell my brother, or I used to tell my brother all the time, and sometimes, even to an extent today, everybody can get their ass whooped. There's somebody out there for everybody. The best you can do is prepare. Uh, Especially in the world of men, you don't want to fight and antagonize every guy you run into, because at that point it seems like you're not secure, you're weak, and at some point it's going to be picked up on, and people aren't even going to entertain it anymore. Um, but you also have to be willing to go that route, right? So that's where the ego and humility comes in. You want enough ego to keep you confident, but you want enough humility to keep you balanced and able to operate in the social world. And I know some people will say, why should I be humble? Well, let's explain what humility is. Humility is a lowering of yourself before, let's say, a higher power, right? Or even let's better rephrase that. It's a recognition of where you stand amongst the powers in general, right? So again, with the football player, right? You can have a high level of confidence if you're pulling 6 yards of carry, but you may not need as much humility, but you're still going to need some. You can't be all ego, because if you're all ego, you're going to run everybody away. Nobody's going to be good enough for you. I'm guilty of this myself. Not necessarily due to my ego, but it's more due to trust issues. Um, and humility, again, it's not a bad thing. It's only bad when taken to the extreme, just like most things, right? Um, Humility at the extreme becomes self-deprecation. You become a doormat, and you don't want to be a doormat. You want to be, again, confident, and you want to be confident and respectful of those and yourself, right? Because we're all connected. Everything's a web. Everything's strings. I pull on one string here, it affects something else somewhere else. Maybe across the planet, maybe across the street. Who knows? But we're all connected. So with that being said, you don't want to you don't want to try to upset the 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 interconnectivity. Because once you upset the interconnectivity, flow stops. And just like with the body, your blood, you know, there's no life when there's no flow. Um, let's see. So we've covered the ego. We've touched on humility. We've touched on self-reflection. Uh, I don't. I should have wrote this down. I don't remember. But I feel like there was one more thing we touched on, kind of briefly, but I can't remember it right now. But let's go ahead and move forward. Matter of fact, I want to go ahead and take a break because I want to talk about more about meditation, but I do want to plug the rest of the crew kind of quickly here. I just realized it just popped in my head. They don't have to be here for me to drop their tags or to promote what they do. So let's see. We got my guy Hook, Zevious Black Mana. You'll find him. Just Google it. You should be able to pull up everything. He does his I won't say little Twitch streaming. He does Twitch streaming as well. He's got a pretty good. He's more of the retro gaming dojo, as what I think is what his Twitch is. He does more of the retro games, Contra stuff like that. Castlevania, for all you gamers, you'll love it. We've got Mike with the cheesecake cones. If you're in the Central Texas area, definitely hit him up. I believe it's happyhungrymunchies.net and see what specials he's got running. I know the last one I had was the Fruity Pebbles cheesecake cone, and that cheesecake is dense. That cone lasted me about a month. Over exaggerating, but definitely it lasted me a good amount of time. We've also got Kim. Kim does candles, bath bombs. She's the apothecary for all you old heads out there. I just dropped my device. Okay, we're back. Oh man! So for all the older heads out there, the old English speakers, yeah, she's the apothecary. Lotions, soaps, candles, bath bombs. Kim's gonna have it. I'm not sure if she's back up and running yet, but she will be able to fill you in with that information on when we get her back on here. We've also got Rayanne. We're gonna be she's doing the reinvigorate. I believe it's home cleaning services. Doing really great in the area right now. If you're in the Central Texas area, look her up and see what she could do for you. So yeah, that's who else am I? Okay, Jones. I can't forget Mr. Jones, Mr. Soto legend. He's on YouTube. He just dropped a YouTube video with I can't remember the artist's name right now, but it's along the lines of like a Michael Jackson Thriller type music video. And I was digging it. My boy K Jones with the shoulder shimmy. So yeah, check that out. We got Incredible. Speaking of K Jones, me and him we're gonna be doing the sports talk more exclusively between me and him, and want to get maybe one or two other people have a round table with that as well. But yeah, moving forward, got Incredible. Mr. Incredible Light Skin. But yeah, you can find him also on SoundCloud. I believe he's under Will Hunt Beats and Incredible Beats, I want to say. Let me see. What else does he do? I can't. I know he works on oil. So my guys out here getting it. We out here all just trying to get it, all trying to make it, all trying to get somewhere. And I'm glad they're able to join me and hop on the podcast. That is the crew. Of course, there are others that we will bring in. D-Wayne hops in every now and again. He's the gardening angel out here. So if you got flower bed work need done, fertilization, most definitely hit him up, or I'll contact him, however, and we'll get this thing popping. Who else has been on the show? T. Rogers, Mr. T, Boss Man, my brother. It's got a nice little crew. You get you guys a lot of opinions and a lot of viewpoints. Again, going back to the meditation, that's also, I believe, very important for your self relationship as well. The meditation will actually, again, you can do it as like self reflection, or you could do it as separate from the self reflection. But I would hope for you to get some type of introspection out of the meditation, because you want to know. You want to know how you are in situations. You want to know what your triggers are. Like for me, I feel anger bubble up, like right in my torso, right in my gut, so I can kind of check that. There's a window. I know this. I know science has gotten the window down to. I'm not sure the number of seconds, but before the study had came out with the findings, I had already theorized this to one of my coworkers in a call center, that there's a small window, and this I wasn't reading any of the spirituality, anything like that, or neuropsychology stuff or psychology stuff at that point. I was just doing meditation work at that point, and I noticed that there's a small window as you kind of switch emotions, to where if you, like, specifically with anger, if you can catch it, you can stop that anger, or shunt it, or you could do something to prevent its full wrath from coming out. And I've actually used that ever since I've had that realization. Now, granted, you do have slippages, because just like any type of wave, or burst or gust or anything like that, you can't catch it all the time. Which means those moments that you do catch it, if you are able to catch it, you know, most of the time, then it's great. It reinforces your ability to catch the bigger and bigger bursts. To eventually, to where you hopefully, the goal would be to not have those bursts at all. But again, we are human. That should be one big thing that we understand about ourselves, and that relationship with ourselves. We're not gods. We're not animals. We're not spirits. We are human, which would be more like a spirit animal. So it'd be a combination of the two. Wouldn't be both, right? So let's see. What else should we cover? Definitely exercise. A lot of people don't exercise. Me particularly, I don't like to sweat, and I still exercise. Not to mention, I get a lot of exercise doing my lawn work. So it's good there. You want your muscles to get accustomed, to continually be accustomed to the weight that they're carrying. You don't want them to atrophy because you sat down all summer and didn't do anything. That's why your high school coaches used to tell you, make sure you're getting out and you're doing stuff all summer, because so you can build that density in your bones, so you can lengthen muscle, strengthen the muscle, get the muscle bigger. All of that goes into taking care of yourself, having a good relationship with yourself. It's like the foods you eat. Me in particular, I stopped eating pork. I get asked all the time, why don't I eat pork? What's wrong with pork? Why don't you eat bacon, or why don't you eat pork ribs, or things like that? And I explained that when you look at the pig skeleton, which would be the pork, their skeleton looks almost identical to ours, right? So so they do have hooves, but their hooves are essentially just big nails that combine together over their their digits. They don't have sweat glands. And most of them, whatever you stick in front of them, as long as they can eat it, they will eat it. So I understand where, in scripture, to not eat unclean creatures such as, that would be a problem. And I know today they're like, well, we have better sterilization systems and growing pens or growing places, growing spots, that really shouldn't be a concern. But even still, again, the biological factors, you don't sweat. Your skeletal structure is, I believe, is 98 to 99% that of humans. Those things. And you actually have skin, human skin type. Because they use pig skin a lot of times for human skin grafting. You've also got human teeth, which I believe is weird. Even side interjection, even weirder. I think squids having bird beaks is just the ultimate of weird. But moving forward, but again, the biologicals of it still turn me away from pork, and now I can pick up when I've eaten pork because it does not agree with my stomach. I actually feel cleaner, less light, less heavy. What else? The same thing like with caffeine. If I drink something with caffeine in it, I instantly know my body starts to heat up. So I do have that relationship with my body, and a lot of people don't have that relationship with their body or their mind or whatnot. I do know that is very important. So if you're not asking yourself these questions or taking care of yourself outwardly or let's say externally and inwardly, then I don't. It's, we've all got work to do. Let's just put it that way. I'm no more. Well, I am more mature than some, but I'm not the most mature person there is. I'm not at the penultimate level that I believe that human society can get to ultimately, right? So I just wanted to hop on here briefly. I don't. That wasn't even briefly, but we've gone on here about 30. We're at 32 minutes right now, and I believe this is some good information. So we've covered, when it comes to the relationship with yourself. You want to be self-reflective. You always want to check in with yourself. How are you doing? Ask yourself, how am I doing? You know, so in that situation, it's okay to talk to yourself. You want to have those self checks with yourself. Um, you want to have ego enough to be confident, but not enough to be over. Not so much to where you're overconfident and overbearing and brash, right? You want to have humility. You want to be humble, but not so much to where you're a pushover, right? You want to have just enough to where you know where you are at and what you need to do in order to get where you want to go, right? You have to have self motivation because in life sometimes you'll be kicked down and won't be a soul around to motivate you. What are you going to do then? How are you going to succeed? Because you're going to have to succeed. So you need that self motivation. Um, and then meditation. So we could throw in visualization with that as well, because in order to see to get to where you got to go or want to go, you got to be able to see where you've got to go or want to go. So those things, and, discipline. Let's go ahead and throw that in there too. You've got to be disciplined. And that goes for like what you eat, or let's say you drink alcohol. You like Bud Platinum. I used to drink Bud Platinum too, but you don't want to overdrink Bud Platinum. Went to work with a guy one morning and we picked him up. He reeked of liquor. We drove all the way from where we're at to Austin, Texas, essentially knowing he wasn't going to be spending the day at work with us, to say that much. So you got to know, you got to be aware of these things. Uh, we briefly talked about what you eat, and actually let's go ahead and elaborate on that. Definitely, You want to bring in more food items that actually use sunlight, the pure energy source. So that way you can take in that energy secondhand as opposed to third, fourth, fifth hand from, let's say, animals or reprocessed foods and enriched foods, things of that nature, right? So it's good to have you a good amount of fruits and vegetables in your diet, and it also helps you balance your natural, the natural nutrients. Why go to the store and buy all the supplements that they have on the counter, which that's all they are. They're supplements. They're chemically manufactured. When strawberries chemically manufacture the same things naturally, right? So it just makes sense that way. And, to that effect, I was in class one day. It was my biology for non-science majors class, my second semester. And one of the things he did was he put a bunch of slides on the wall or on the projector. So the slides went kind of like this, and as regards to what looks appetizing. So there was cat. No, definitely not appetizing, right? There was a dog. Maybe to some, by us, by rumor, but yeah, no, it's not too appetizing. A picture of a steak. Okay, okay. If you like steak, it's pretty appetizing. Me personally, I don't like steak, so it's not too appetizing. But I understand it could be appetizing to other people, as opposed to a cat or a dog. So picture number 4 or 5, whatnot, was a picture of a sliced open strawberry. And for some reason, at that time, I wasn't really big into strawberries and whatnot, but that strawberry looked. Actually, I was. Now that I think about it, that was my at the beginning of my garden phase. But that strawberry looked good as hell. And so, okay, this kind of repeats this cycle again, and we come to the conclusion as well, were there findings that represented this conclusion as well, that what we tend to do is, oh man, our brains are still wired to find the foods that we ate back then naturally more aesthetically appetizing than what we're basically manufacturing to eat. Like, say, again, with a cow, you're not walking by a cow like, oh, well, some people are like, oh, that cow's gonna get a lot of steaks, but you're not you're sitting, most time you're not thinking, oh, that cow's gonna be good as hell, right? Oh, that cow's gonna be juicy. Man, so yeah, it's just you got to be careful with these things. Of course, as we get older, our bodies deteriorate. At this point, there's nothing we can do about it. They're working on it. They want us to, I guess, well, they want to sell us time. So there's that. Um, but yeah, so just got to be mindful of those things. Got to be watch out for those things. Got to take care of yourself. And have that relationship with yourself. Go on dates. Oh yeah, I know. I said we were going to wrap this up about 10 minutes ago, but the things are coming back. They're coming to me now. There's nothing wrong with dating yourself. Learning what you like, what gets you moving, what gets you going. That's a part of the. I guess that you can stick that part of the self motivation. I know there are times when I was single, and a Marvel movie had came out. I wanted to go see the movie, right? I know my my significant other, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, whatever, was tired, so let her sleep on the bed while I learn more about myself. It's, whether that be watching a movie, painting, or reading a book, or writing down my thoughts. I got to do you've got to do all those things to stay in touch with yourself, Pause. I mean, if you do that, you want to do that too. That's a part of the, self love too, self care. Sometimes you need to release. Hey, I'm not judging you. Don't judge me. So yeah, again, we've covered what you eat, um, you know, releasing yourself, or I don't say releasing yourself, release, um, mind, self reflection, meditation slash mindfulness. Covered a good amount of topics today, or tonight, I should say. And hopefully, if you didn't kind of pick up on it before, you picked up on it now. Self care is also important. That self relationship is also important, because if you don't know how to have a relationship with yourself, and you can't have a relationship with yourself, there's no way you're gonna be able to have a relationship with somebody else. And you want to struggle to understand somebody else when you haven't even taken the time to even start to understand yourself. So these are very important steps. It's a very important step to take when it comes to relationships. Um, so I am going to go ahead and let you guys get out of here. Let you guys have a great night, a great day whenever you listen to this. Um, if you enjoy what we're talking about, share it. Speaking of sharing it, we've got our listens in Chile now. To all our Chile listeners, I believe we have listeners in the Philippines now too, and here in America, with all our listeners everywhere. We thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. We do hope to bring you some good, great content, and we would love for you guys to interact. We'll be getting I tried to get the Facebook group going the other day, but it was acting funny. So I will be having that up. So we'll be able to go to the Facebook group, and we'll be able to discuss topics there offline or off the pod. We'll be able to bring up topics there for us to discuss on the pod. So there's going to be plenty of options there. I don't say plenty of options. That's gonna be another option, another venue or avenue to participate and interact with us there. Um, Me and Kay Jones are supposed to be back this week with the NFL review. The last one we recorded, but it got deleted because the audio, I messed it up. That was my fault this time. I didn't have my audio guy, Hook. What else we got going on? Coming into the winter time here, so I'll have more time to get podcast done. I'm hoping to get things set up to where we can get you guys the video, so you can see, for those of you who would like to see how the group interacts, you can do that. I will also be trying to get, probably going back to all my episodes and setting up some type of way for you to interact, whether it be through polls or questions, or maybe I might give you a little quiz. Who knows? But we would love for you to hear your feedback. Are we doing a good job? I feel like we are. I also feel like we could do better, and we will. This will continue to grow and it will continue to evolve. I do want to start doing interviews. I got to get a lineup for that, and I'm gonna be a horrible interviewer. So that's what we're not gonna do. We're not gonna do just the self-deprecating talk. We're not gonna down talk. But I will say I haven't interviewed anyone before, so it'll be a new thing for me. And whoever does participate, I will be very appreciative, and I hope we do great things. And again, we've got, it's the crew, your boy Dez with the spaces. Don't forget the I on YouTube, Karmic Dez on Instagram, the Lawnmower on Facebook. We've got Zevious, Black Mana, 85, I believe. He's going to correct me, I'm sure. You can find him if you just Google it. Yeah, we've got Kim with, I forgot to say the name. It's, oh my goodness. Co. I can't remember it fully. I feel ashamed. I listened to the episode and we were there at the table. We talked about it, but definitely hit her up on Instagram if you can't find her through her Instagram. You can find her through probably mine or her Facebook, I believe. I'm going out on a limb saying Facebook with the candles. But she does have candles, bath bombs, soaps, and my guy Hook uses them. I didn't even know that. So there you go. Incredible. He's got the beats. You can hit him up. He's on SoundCloud, YouTube. We've got Mr. Mike with the cheesecake cones. If you're in the Central Texas area, again, happyhungrymunchies.net. Dwayne the Gardening Angel. Just Google his information. It should come up. We got next. We out here. Again, appreciate you guys listening. Have a good one. Be safe. And we'll be back. Catch you next episode. We'll either be talking about Israel and Hamas and Palestine and the whole Gaza Strip area, or we'll be talking about how to diffuse situations in your relationships, or we'll be talking about both of those. So again, you guys have a good night. Ladies, have a good night. Everyone have a great night. Be safe. Work well. See you next time. Or sorry, talk with you next time.